Ready?
Yep.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm here with my teacher again. This is during my next lesson. We're doing the review of what I did. So this lesson was on the PBL, the project-based learning. So I picked an interesting one I really don't do very much is baking. The reason we did this is we are doing measurement in math, as fractions and measurement. So I talked to the children and we decided we would do a class on cooking because they seemed to be interesting. After our we had the student conferences, and there's a couple of them seemed interested in cooking, and that was sort of a reward at home for doing well. So we thought we would discuss if anyone would be interested in doing that in the class. So we thought it'd be a good thing for measuring out things, and as it was a good one for project-based learning, we thought that would be a way to go. And I was sort of interested because I don't do any of it myself, and I thought it'd be scary to do, and so I thought the whole thing would be a good fun thing to do. So that's what we planned on doing. So I got them to bring in recipes or try. We did basic cookies. They all brought in a recipe, or a few of them did, and we picked out the ones, they picked the ones that they thought would be try. So voila, there we go. That's what we came up with, the recipe. And we did punch and cookies. We differentiated. Some of the guys did the cookies, some did the punch, and then we did a basic class beforehand, and then we went off and did our thing. So there you go, and then so that's it.
Okay, so during the lesson, what I like that Pip did is that he reviewed the vocabulary lessons and also reviewed what fractions were used. And I like the fact that he had the kids buy into doing a cooking and let them have ownership of what they wanted to cook, and they voted on what type of cookies that they did. He set up expectations, and then the on grade level kids and the higher kids, he had them do a little bit harder because the cookies were harder to make. And the kids that are struggling in math, or the IEP kids, he had them make punch, which was only like 3 steps of measurement, which was, they felt successful that way. And then we took the cookies and punch. We also made stone soup with our kindergarten buddies that day. So we had a celebration, kind of like a Thanksgiving celebration at the end of the day with our kindergarten buddies, where they had stone soup, cookies, and punch. And the kids were very happy that they were able to provide all this stuff for their little buddies downstairs.
So followed the standards of tried to highlight the 4 standards. So the standard teacher understands the central concepts, tools of inquiry, structures, disciplines. Teachers creates learning experiences that make disciplines accessible and meaningful for students to assume mastery of the content. Guided question: does the candidate understand subject area and concepts and tools of inquiry to make the content accessible and attainable to the students?
So Pip did that by having everyone was able to measure either the punch or the cookie recipe. So it was very hands-on for all of them. And they also got to go into the teacher's lounge, which is a big deal because they've never been in the teacher's lounge, and were able to use the oven down there.
And quite messy.
What we learned from this is the very next day I had a parent come up to talk to me, and her son just went on about making cookies the day before, and was excited about that and wanted to now cook more at home with his family. And I'm sure we'll hear more about this as we touch bases with more families throughout the next couple weeks. All the students were actively participant. It was very exciting to see kids that are normally quiet and withdrawn actually excited to do something like this.
So the next guided question was: does the candidate use appropriate instructional resources that are comprehensive, accurate, and appropriate for students?
And Pip did that because they were all working together. So they worked together as a group. If one kid was struggling, the other kid was there to correct them somewhat or to help them.
Yeah, we used, they followed the instructions, so they were reading from the recipe. They followed the recipe. We went through the process of how the recipe works, what the pros and cons were, following the exact amounts, what happened if they didn't, how the recipe worked. And it was interesting because I don't bake at all, so it was good for me because I would have been a disaster if we hadn't, and as I didn't know what we were doing either, it was a good thing. Next, standard 5, application of content. Candidate understands how to connect concepts and use different perspectives to engage students in critical thinking, creativity, and collaborative problem solving related to authentic local and global issues. Does the candidate design and implement student projects to guide students in analysing the complexities of an issue?
Which you did, because that they voted on what they wanted to make, and you did the punch and the cookie, so it was different learning for different kids that needed that.
So I'm thinking that part of this is it's something they would never normally do, and so I'm hoping this is something they engage at home now. So it gives them an opportunity. They seem to be excited to do it, and with the one child coming in the next day and saying they really want to be doing it at home, so I'm hoping this is make them realise that it's something they can do at home. They've talked to their parents about doing it, so I'm hoping that's sort of engaged them in doing that. So that's one of the things I'm hoping we've got from it. Sort of made me want to maybe do it, not really, but it sort of did. Does the candidate design and implement student projects to guide students in analysing complexities of an issue? It's a minor thing, but following the directions.
Well, and I think
It's
too that
important.
he's taking math where the kids are using fractions and measurement on paper and realizing that people use this every day in life. So to make it real life, cooking is what we do almost every day. So that was a good way to tie that in.
And then the last one, does the candidate develop and implement lessons that are related to real world problems relevant to students and disciplinary in nature? So I think that's answered in that with that, isn't
Yep,
it?
tied in.
Fractions, yep. Math is a real world issue.
Yes.
And that's it. So that's it for today. I'll see you next week.
Really next week?
Or tomorrow.
Okay.